Guys, this is Gavin from Gym Country. Today we've got Nadeshi and we are going to show you 5 of the best exercises for legs for women at the gym.
If you want to see more videos like this, click subscribe.
Click subscribe. So by the end of this video you will be shown exactly how to work your legs, to define your legs and to tone your legs.
I've been doing this workout plan for 4 weeks and I can feel the tone and definition in my legs and my glutes.
The first exercise is a barbell back squat. Nadeshi then cleans the bar up towards her back. She then places it on her traps. Her stance is about shoulder width apart, feet angle slightly out. She braces her abs on the way down and keeps her back nice and flat. So as she goes down, she bends her knees, shifts her hips back and slowly lowers until her butt's just about 90 degrees. Depending on your position or your frame, you might prefer to do a narrower stance. She prefers a bit wider, so you can see from another angle. She squats down to 90 degrees and drops into her heels on the way down. As you can see here, this works your glutes, your core, your quads and your hamstrings. So now we've got another angle here. You can see just how it works into her glutes and hamstrings all the way down towards a 90-degree angle. She keeps sitting back into her glutes and then squeezing at the top of the rep. This is how not to perform a squat. Knees coming forward, back is not sitting back is not completely flat, spine is not neutral. And this is just putting a lot of pressure on the back, the upper back, as well as a lot of pressure on the knees. Important that you sit back throughout the squat. Next up, we've got a split squat lunge. Split squat, so her back is straight. She puts one leg back and then drops it to a 90-degree angle, making sure her abs are braced throughout the set and getting the flexion on the back knee. Making sure that the front leg is doing all the work. And as she's coming up, she's not straightening her quad completely at the top of the rep. There's still tension. As you see, there's still tension. The knee's not locked out at the top. So important for this is making sure that you've got a right angle and a wide enough stance to then hit your quads and glutes. You can see it's working the quads nicely on the front leg, as well as working into the hamstrings and glutes. This is how not to perform a split squat. Far too stretched out. This is going to put a lot of pressure on the left hip flexor, on the right hip flexor you see there. As you can see on the right hip flexor. This is causing a lot of strain. This is also not how to perform it. Losing your entire posture, knee coming forward past your toe, having no real effect on your glutes or hamstrings. You need to be well positioned on this exercise. Next up, we've got a leg press. Feet are just wider than hip width. And you're going to release the weight down towards your chest, back to a 90-degree angle, making sure that when you are dropping the weight back towards your chest, you're dropping it through the heels at a right angle, making sure you're working into the glutes there, as you can see on the way down. Glutes and hamstrings working nicely. And then pushing up through the quads. So knees are in line with toes. As you can see, the feet are nice and parallel. Next up, we have a hip thrust. So this is the #1 glute building exercises for women. Got the weight rested on the hip bone. Got the upper back resting on the bench. The head is in a neutral position. Feet are just wider than shoulder width. Dropping the hips and then bringing them up to a complete straight position into a flexed position at the top. So this is where your hips are at full extension, squeezing the glutes, the top of the rep. Any further, you will injure your lower back. So there should be a nice contraction point at the top of the rep. Squeezing the glutes, getting them firing. Another important tip here is to keep your upper body positioned and not moving it so much. Should just be dropping the hips down and up. This is how not to perform the exercise. Really using your whole body. This is going to injure yourself, really cause strain to your lower back. Over hyperextending. This is also how not to perform a hip thrust. Going too far out on your stance. As you can see, she's not at a 90-degree angle on her leg position. You can see this is really going to put a lot of strain on the hamstrings and lower back. This is also how not to perform the exercise. This is going to destroy your knees. As you can see, coming too close in a position too close for your knees towards your body. It's crucial to have it at a 90-degree position, the foot position. Next up, we've got a stiff leg deadlift. So here's a teaching position. You're going to keep your posture nice and tall, and she's got her feet just inside hip width. She's going to draw the shoulders back and keeping her head at a neutral position, and then she's going to start to lower, keeping her back flat, lower her hands towards just past the knee. As you can see there, coming down just primarily with the hamstrings. Just a slight bend in the knee, hands are close to the knees, and maintaining a flat back and posture throughout the set. This is why her head is positioned in a neutral position rather than downwards. What happens is if you lose your posture, you're just going to injure your lower back, your head goes down, or your posture is wrong here, and effectively you are not engaging your hamstrings at all, not getting the stretch you want. So guys, for toned hamstrings, this is an important exercise to get this right. This is how she's going to do it properly with a bar. Find a bar that's nice and light for you, so you can really isolate, go slowly and controlled exercise. So you can see a slight bend in the knees, weight stays close to her shins, and her back is nice and flat. So she's going just below the knees with the bar, and then coming up. Any lower, you're going to round your shoulders. So there's a nice point there on the stretch, and then up. Next up, we've got a leg extension. This works the quads. Find a weight that's comfortable for you, that you can bring your legs up to a completely straight position and then down at a 90-degree angle. So as you can see, the pad is rested just at the top of her foot, and she's bringing the weight up as high as she can, squeezing at the top of the rep, the quads. See, working the quads there, the lower quad and then the upper quad from the top of the movement there. Her knees are in line with her toes and nice and stable, so you can see, and her feet are just wider than hip width, in line with her toes out. She's keeping all the tension on the quads throughout the set, slowly on the way up and slowly on the way down. Here's a better view, nice and controlled, going down to 90 degrees and then powering up. Really feeling the burn on the quads here, getting nice shape and definition. Next up, we've got a standing calf raise. You're going to position a step just below the bar. You've got the padding on to protect your traps and your neck. You're going to find a weight that's good for you, that you can do, and then you're going to drop your heels and then straighten. Squeeze the calves at the top of the rep. Keep your toes up. Your feet are about just inside hip width, quite low, and then squeezing at the top of the rep. Working both sides to the calves, inside and outside.
So there we go, guys. We smashed the legs, and we actually have 7 exercises, not 5. I wanted to add an extra 2 because I feel they're important. So the first one is a back squat, second one is a lunge, then we had the leg press, then we had a hip thrust, and then we went to a stiff leg deadlift, then we went to a leg extension and finished off with a standing calf raise. So which of these exercises were your favorite? Please comment on the section below.
If you like the video, click like.
And for any more videos like these, follow me, click subscribe.